Now the work begins, and over the course of the next 2 years, there are many different tasks that we'll be faced with. However, tonight I'd like to focus on really 4 key issues. One, of course, being public health, the second, public safety, third, economic development, and lastly, our education system. First, over the last 2 years, we all have been through a battle, and I'd like to say that we have come out somewhat of this pandemic better off than we were before. And yes, we've all suffered, but I think there were things we certainly had taken for granted that now we can be a bit more appreciative of. Through our leadership at our health department under the direction of Leah Crown, I promise that we will continue to do right by our residents and get the information out to you and only put policies in place that are in the best interests of our city. Meanwhile, we rely on you, our residents, to do your part. And you can do that by getting vaccinated if you haven't been, getting boosted if it's been more than 6 months. We also look to support one another and our business community. We, of course, have gotten some funds from the American Rescue Plan that the City Council, myself, and a committee look to disperse those funds back out into our community. And I'm excited to see what those funds will do, not just for the city, but also for our business community, as they need us now more than ever before. Which brings me to a second point of economic development. It's not only one of our biggest challenges, but also one of our largest opportunities. Making Meriden a more business-friendly and vibrant place to attract as many as we can. It's a responsibility that we must undertake daily. It's not one that begins and ends with a political campaign or term in office. It takes all of us to work daily to make sure Meriden is as attractive and viable a place as anywhere else. I promise you to continue working closely with our Economic Development Director, Joe Fest, to ensure we have a strategy, a goal, and a plan for what Meriden needs. For it is strategies and goals like this that we can proudly say we are attracting a new grocery chain to the west side of town, one that has been much needed since the closure of Stop and Shop. Continued development along East Main Street as we continue to witness businesses open. Significant development happening in our mall, and we look forward to a groundbreaking very soon. And of course, the revitalization of our downtown. And the work we've done, we can certainly be proud of, but there's a lot of work ahead. Third, I ran on a platform of supporting public safety. We have members of the Meriden Police Department and the Meriden Fire Department here this evening, and I can't thank you enough for your courage and bravery and the sacrifice for keeping us safe and making Meriden a better place for all of us. I don't think we can say it loud enough. Let's give them a round of applause. Since our election just over a month ago, it's certainly been a busy few weeks. Just 3 weeks ago, the City Council deemed it necessary to pass a new ordinance establishing a civilian police review board. This board will provide further oversight of use of force cases that may come before our department. And while I demonstrated my opposition to this board through my veto, which was overridden, as the individual responsible for recommending and appointing people to this board, you have my commitment that individuals recommended will see this through to a fair process. None of us truly understand what the men and women in uniform put their lives through on a daily basis. And so we cannot pretend to know what you do. And so it'll be important to gain understanding and intelligence from our officers and our chief to better ourselves for years to come. However, I thank you for your steadfast approach and your commitment to making Meriden a safer and better place for us all. Lastly is the importance of education, and how fitting that we started this evening with a performance from our students, and they are woven into the program this evening because I think that is one area that we can certainly do much better in bragging about, is how great and exceptional the Meriden Public Schools are. The Meriden Board of Education, however, needs our help, the City of Meriden, when it comes to local funding. Unfortunately, cities and towns around us have stepped up while the city of Meriden has been lagging when it comes to responsibly financing what the Board of Ed needs. However, we should be proud that despite these difficult times, our students, our staff, our teachers have remained in the classroom, teaching and learning while many other districts were closed due to the pandemic. We have seen great gains where we need it the most, and that's at our youngest grade levels. Across our elementary schools, the U.S. News and World Report recently did a nationwide ranking of all elementary schools across the U.S. I was pleased when the superintendent and board president shared the findings of this report. Here's how Meriden compares with some of our neighboring districts. Most of Meriden's elementary schools outranked the majority of elementary schools in the town of Berlin. Most of our elementary schools outperformed the majority of elementary schools in Middletown. And all of our elementary schools, every one of them, outperformed and outranked every other elementary school in the town of Wallingford. The Superintendent Pedigny, and the Board of Education should be proud of these successes and accomplishments, and I'd like to extend my congratulations to our staff and administrators for doing what is right by our students despite the challenges they've been faced with. Keep up the great work, and I look forward over the next 2 years to continuing our momentum forward. In closing, you've heard that we do have a great deal of work that lies ahead, but an awful lot that we can be proud of. Since taking oath in 2015, I continue to promise our greatly diverse population that I will deliver to you a city we all can be proud of. I pledge to you my commitment to work alongside the City Council to keep our taxes to a minimum while maintaining a high level of service to our residents. Again, I thank you all very much for your attendance this evening, your continued trust and support with me as your mayor. I wish you all the very best in health over the course of this holiday season and the very best wishes for a much brighter 2022. May God bless you, may God bless